What's the difference between a crocodile and an alligator? One will see you later, the other after a while.
Welcome everyone, I'm Captain LC with the Swashbuckling Squeebs, and welcome aboard Sea of Thieves podcast, and today I'm joined by...
Yildiz.
And Andrew.
And today we will be discussing quests. So the general theme of quests in Sea of Thieves, I feel like it's a bit undefined right now. We really only have like riddle maps and something called voyages. I believe combined will create like an overarching campaign and story. It is 100% online, so just in general, what do you guys think of just quests in the game? How do you think they're gonna go?
So one of the things that we talked about last time was what happens if someone takes your ship. So I was thinking if someone takes you could capture a crewmate or something, and that could turn into a quest for you to go and find them. Maybe the quests also lead you to upgrade the ship, because we talked about that last time as well. Just to do challenges, just to like customize the ship. Even though I would hope that there's easier ways to do that as well, other than doing the quests, but that would be a cool thing to have. And the crewmates and ships too, like if someone goes to take that, it could be a cool way to just add like another element to the game where if someone gets taken, you can then go on a quest to find it.
So I want to focus in on X marks the spot maps and riddle maps, as they seem to be the main core of the questing system, and as well as rewards. So I want to get your guys' take on that more specifically, and then later on at the end of the video, we could speculate on new quests we want to see and stuff like that.
I mean, I'm fine with either type, either the X marks the spot or the riddle.
Okay.
I think the X marks the spot is more of a traditional pirate. I don't want to say cliche, but trademark.
Got you. Yeah,
I think
I agree.
is a better word. But the riddles is something different. It's not gonna be cut and dry with knowing exactly where it is, as far as comparing it to the X marks the spot, where if you know the layout of the island that you're on, you could just pretty easily figure out where the treasure is. I'm thinking something like on the islands that use the X marks the spot as its main treasure finding map. It's going to be more traversing the island and getting through obstacles to get to it, rather than with the riddle map. It's more solving the island based on the riddle, not as much like you're getting ambushed by skeletons or something like that.
Yeah, I want to say that there's also going to be a heavy influence on the landmark, and that type of system, because I feel like the landmark system will be like actually I think it's really going to be the focus of it, because you need to communicate and you need to comprehend what's on the actual map itself. Otherwise, you're obviously not going to go in the right direction. So I think
that direction being one direction.
4/5 direction.
Hopefully they have bleach on the ship. So I feel like the landmark system will be good, but I want to see more variety in trying to solve the quests and different types of quests. Like buried treasure is obviously good. That's the core of all pirate things. You know, you're always looking for buried treasure, but I want to see different types of quests with not just buried treasure and not sunken treasure and not just treasure. I want to see something like you go get a powerful ship, like Andrew was talking about before, or the quest for like a legendary item or something. And I feel like that combined with the adventure system that's in place right now, it's definitely going to feel different than pretty much any other game, because I mean, looking at it now, it has a different feel. Like, I've played a lot of MMOs, I've played a lot of games. We've all played a ton of games, and it just feels different. So I'm very, very, very interested into how that's going to play a part into the questing system.
Yeah, definitely. I'm the main draw for this game right now to me probably is just how it feels different than anything we've ever done before.
Mm.
It's so exciting to have something to look forward to like that.
Sorry, I didn't mean to do that to interrupt.
Yeah. And then something I was thinking of. I don't know how far they've gone into like the whole just like discussing quests.
Mhm.
But if there could be like multi-part ones where you have to solve a riddle on an island to get a quest to go to a different island to solve something on there to then go to another island.
Yeah, that would be really interesting. Yeah, like an overarching thing, make it a bit more difficult, because I feel like if it's just the X marks the spot and the riddle maps right now, it's gonna get a bit redundant.
Yeah.
Even though they may change it up, like I'm concerned for the longevity of it. I want to see other things implemented, especially those chain quests. I think that would be a very interesting component into both keeping players interested and keeping players playing the game.
Mm-hmm. And then to add on to that, say your crew gets to the second island first.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be cool if there was a way to then booby trap that, like where you find the next riddle for the next group of people that come through. They'd still be able to like get the quest, but say they have to fight like more skeletons or cannonball shoots at their ship, something like that, where it kind of makes it more competitive for everyone in the server.
Got you.
Bridge a point from what Andrew said about the multi-island thing. That'd be more towards the riddle maps that you would have to make, since each island has a different name, have a multi-island, maybe 2 or 3, not like a different island for each part of the riddle, but you got the riddle, the first line, and it points to a name of a certain island, but yet the name of the island ties into the answer to the riddle, and you have to visit the island or maybe complete or get to the end of the island, find the secret at the end of it before you get the next part of the riddle, which can point you to another island. Something like that. I think it would be more of a grander loot you would get from completing it.
Yeah.
And there's another point I want to bridge off what you were saying with the treasure. Just not being just treasure chests. I think it's what they're gonna do is they're gonna keep it as treasure, but maybe not all the treasure is like the chests seem to be locked, and you can only unlock them when you get back to the main port or main island that you go to return stuff.
And there are different types of treasure chests, which we'll talk about later.
Yes. But I think it's just maybe they're going to have chests there. They're not going to leave on an island, and maybe a chest on an island that opens up and gives you items or a better cutlass or a better pistol, something like that, right away. You don't have to go and trade it in. I don't think they're just going to have a sword laying around.
Yeah, that's very true.
Because it's not like like RPGs or just an RPG in general where you just kind of find a sword laying in the ground and just pull it off the person and this has better stats.
Oh yeah. Let me just throw this on. Oh, it's a green instead of my.
No, it doesn't match my set, but its stats are amazing.
It's not cosmetically pleasing. It doesn't fit my transmog.
It's literally a thong, but it gives me plus 80 armor.
Yeah, bridging off of that, I think they're doing a good job staying true to the cosmetic feel, and there's not crazy things. All
the cosmetics are probably going to stick to the time
what the hell
period.
do they do, like pink rainbow gun skins and what the hell? You
can get keychains for your gun too.
The granny's always right voice pack garbage. Like I don't know, but aside from that, I'm happy that
because the game wasn't doing good. They had to add more microtransactions.
Pretty true.
Josh, don't speak the facts like that.
Yeah, come on.
You're gonna get COD fanboys upset.
You're hurting me.
What COD fanboys? There are none anymore.
Yeah.
So going back to the whole thing, I do think that that would be an interesting way to get other things, because all I've seen so far is, yeah, like you trade in the chest, you get a bunch of gold, and obviously it varies on the type of chest you have. But yeah, I do like the idea of maybe getting like a pistol or something in the chest when you go to unlock it or go trade it in.
So something back with what I was saying about having trapped areas for the quests.
Yeah.
This is something that would absolutely miff me, but if the game did it where the riddles could be interpreted in different ways, and if you interpret it not the correct way, and say you dig up that area where it's not exactly where the quest was supposed to take you, if that was trapped itself, like the game just doing that, it'd be really frustrating.
Yeah,
but I
that'd be
feel
cool,
like that would just add another element to the game, because you'd have to really think it through and make sure your decision was right, like before you just went at willy-nilly and dug anywhere you wanted.
When I hear that, I think of the Goonies. Anyone see the Goonies?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Otherwise, you're immediately out of here. So in the Goonies, like when they pull the wrong thing, or like when they press the wrong key when they're playing the piano
on the keyboard.
On the keyboard, and then everything starts falling. That would be cool if they have like triggers and other things aside from the actual thing. Another thing that I just thought of when you were thinking about that, like what if there's one, we're gonna have to talk about who gives the quests. Two, the amount of quests given, because I feel like certain quests, if they really want to make something special, it should be limited. Like, okay, not everyone can get this quest, like you have to get to it first, or you have to get it from a certain island, or you have to stumble across it some way, some difficult way. And then if you do, and you get there first, and then somebody else gets a hold of the quest, or the map, or whatever it may be, and they get there after you, like what if you like leave like a note for them or something other than a trap or something like that? Like I feel like there's something that could be done there that could make it a bit more I don't want to, well, I guess challenging, but challenging is not the word. I want to say definitely unique. That makes the experience a bit more unique, and that the items that you do get is a bit more unique. I'm not saying that there has to be one in the entire shared world, but definitely a select amount, at least for like a week or so in game time, something like that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, because I don't like the way that, since the internet has basically been around, you can't just... not as many people go around playing a game and experience everything on their own. If they get stuck at a park, or they're like, how do I get this item? They instantly go to the internet to find it out. They don't work for it themselves, which is something I have done, regrettably.
I think we've all
and
done.
I don't like having to do that.
Yeah, I like options in the game. I'm gonna agree with you here.
Like, if there's like one item that is like superior to or in a superior class itself, and once somebody finds it, they're like, I'm gonna make a YouTube video on it, and then everyone's gonna have it.
Yeah.
So if maybe they can make the looting and quest items, or quest I don't want to say quest drop, but just quest acquisition, not
the
so
rewards.
Much RNG,
Okay.
Randomly given, but have it not randomly give it, but something. The item will vary within like a certain grade.
Okay.
Like if it's superior quality, you might get a sword, or you might get a gun. You might not get. Everyone doesn't get the same thing, and it also constantly changes within its rewards, or maybe locations, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, the biggest thing for that would just be make sure everything is still balanced, because you don't want the obsidian steed running around when everyone else has regular.
Odd reference.
I do agree with that, but on the other hand, I wanna make a point that if you do get a legendary item, or like a legendary ship or something, and just speaking, I'm not saying that they're gonna classify everything as legendary. I'm just saying, if something's harder to get, I want to be rewarded for it. I want it to be a bit more powerful than all the other things, and I want it to be okay, being that it is limited, or that it would be limited, because I feel like in these games, you're not really rewarded too much for the really unique items, and I think from there I want to start bridging it off to the difficulty of quests, and the reward system and how we could go about that. And what do you guys think about like the difficulty things? For example, like obviously you're gonna have easy riddles and hard riddles, and then easy maps, hard maps, easy voyages, hard voyages, whatever that may be when they do get done finalizing the game and everything. But what do you guys think about difficulty, just in general? What do you think it should be? What do you think you should get from it? What is challenging to you that you think of?
Well, I think the difficulty is really gonna have to. The whole game's online, so the difficulty is really gonna depend on how everyone else in the game does. But what you were saying is completely right. Where if something's harder to do, like it's a harder challenge or a harder quest, you should be rewarded for it.
Yeah, I just want to interject really quick, saying that like I feel like they should have the really extremely hard quests in there to distinguish the players. Like, if you really want to work for something, I think you should be rewarded.
Yeah, definitely.
And that'll also increase the longevity of the game and keep players interested in wanting to find these things.
Yeah. You just don't want to give away that easy stuff or the better stuff for free.
Yeah.
Like, go back to what I said about Call of Duty, where you could just get it from a supply drop and you
pay.
You have to pay, but you didn't earn it. Like, you could randomly get that on your first time, or you could never get it. So it wasn't balanced at all.
So the difficulty of things, I want to be challenged. I like a good challenge in a game, and that's, isn't that all why we all play games?
Yeah, well,
that's especially why they have different difficulty settings
recently in games. I feel like everyone's been dumbing it down, actually.
Dumbing what down?
Just like the difficulty of certain things. Like, everything's too easy to get.
Oh yeah. There's games are not as, they don't have like that difficulty curve like games in the past did. And I'm talking back like NES days. I haven't personally experienced those kind of games, but I have heard of it.
Mm-hmm.
Except the only most difficult game that I know about nowadays is Dark Souls, and I think that's just cheap tricks.
Yeah, that's definitely that's a ridiculous game. That's why people like it, because it's so challenging and it's so rewarding when you do get through like the first boss.
Giving things away is not something I would like to see, especially with the better items. But like with the easy quests, you gotta have that chance to get something decent. Not like you don't have a chance of getting epic stuff, but you have a chance of getting like rare. But you just keep it at like common, uncommon, and you have that slight chance at rare, and maybe that 0.1% at a ultra rare, something like that, maybe. But keeping it within the loot within difficulty range is a key thing, because you don't, like I said, you don't want to do something easy and get a one hit
really
kill. Or I don't know. I don't even know what to consider it.
Yeah. So what they're doing, what I've seen is they have different types of chests, and I think that's going to add to the variety, and then hopefully they do add on to everything, so that they have a regular chest, they have something called the Chest of Sorrows, and some other thing, the name escapes me, but basically when it's on your ship you get a little bit drunk.
Wait, what is it called?
Well, I forgot the name of it, but
okay.
The Chest of Sorrow, so every once in a while when you're carrying it, it's going to start crying when you're on your ship, so then you have to also bail water. I think that adds an aspect of difficulty as well. Also an aspect of, what's the word? Well, I mean, it makes it interesting, you know. It makes everything a bit varied, and it's not the easiest thing in the world to get back. Say you're really far from an outpost, and it shouldn't be the easiest thing to get either, because I saw when they played it at E3, you got a good amount of gold compared to the regular treasure chest. So I think that's a start and a step in the right direction for the difficulty and the rewards for the chests that you do get. So what do you guys think about those types of chests, and what other chests would you want to see?
Personally, I would love to see more chests that make the trip back to the outpost more difficult. You said with the Chest of Sorrows that have basically the ship keeps flooding. I don't know if that actually, like, does it, like, holes appear too that you have to board up and then bail? Or is it just fills with water?
It wouldn't make sense if the holes just randomly start appearing. I think it just fills it with water and weighs down your ship a bit more.
And if too much water gets in it, and you lose the ship and the treasure as well.
Yeah.
And there's also something about, I just want to go off on a tangent. Is there diving?
Like a diving, like, animation?
Because
you can just
or like a shipwreck, kind of like exploring a shipwreck.
Yes. Oh, that type of diving, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Back on topic. Just the added challenge of getting back to the outpost was something I completely overlooked up until now, throughout this podcast. But I kept thinking all the difficulty had to do with actually getting the treasure chest. I completely forgot about
getting it back.
That added difficulty modifier. Like if I had to say I would like to see a certain chest modifier that I would like to see, AI pirates attack you.
Like, just randomly spawn?
Yeah, not like often, but
okay. What if here was my idea for the chest, since you brought that up. What if there was a chest like a siren chest, and it starts like sending out like signals or like a really loud like voice or something, and then nearby players can hear it, and then that would give the threat of other people trying to come get your treasure. What about something like that?
I mean, yeah, that would be interesting as well. It goes along the lines of what I said.
Yeah, that's why, like, what if, you know, like, if that was brought up, I think that would be a really cool mechanic, and then they could obviously build upon it, because I feel like maybe one more added effect would be nice to it, or like dual effect chests.
That's exactly what I was going to talk about. I was going to say something where maybe a chest, it does something where it'll weigh down the ship, but you also get, like, added defense to the ship, where you might need to take a couple more hits to go down.
Got you.
But it does make you slower to get there. Like a rare chest where you get a rare positive with a negative that you have to deal with.
Well, I feel like people with that would not really abuse it, but they would just have it on the ship and just have it as like a defense, like say they blockade like a port or something.
Yeah.
So I think that, well, although it would be smart by the players, I think it could be a bit unfair. But
it also doesn't have to exactly be that.
Yeah.
Just the idea of having a positive and a
just
negative.
Just the idea, yeah.
Or maybe a chest with dual negative effects. Maybe not too severe effects, but two effects that would combined be more, just maybe slightly more difficult than one negative effect. Like tone the regular effect down a little bit and put two of them, something like that.
Yeah, that would be pretty interesting. So now let's talk about how we're gonna actually get the quest. Like, who's gonna give the quest? Do we have to go to an outpost? Do you pick up a map? Do you find it randomly on an island? So what do you guys think? I know, Josh, you had an idea before.
Yeah. Okay. So we were talking about earlier in the podcast. There was a campaign kind of thing,
like,
and then there are other quests. I'm thinking what they're gonna do, or I might recommend that you have the main quests, the story quests, to whichever the story may be, just always there. Like you boot up the game, you first boot up the game, like fresh start.
Okay.
You start playing, you get the first quest, and it just continually rolls until you get to the final quest of the campaign, whatever that may be. So those quests are kind of always active. So you don't have to trade that quest out for, say, a quest that you might find on an island, or what I don't want to call it a side quest, because
like a miscellaneous.
The game is all about quests.
Yeah.
Not necessarily, but mainly. You could just do the campaign quests whenever you want. When you're near, you happen to be near the main story quest, you go do that after doing side quests. But then again, maybe that wouldn't be too smart, because after you finish the side quest, you'll have the treasure, the ship, and you don't want to kind of leave that there while you're doing the main thing. You'd want to get back to the port as soon as possible. But the main thing is, the campaign-based quests are just always available to be done. Like, you don't... Once you complete a quest, the next one that just starts completing it begins immediately.
Well,
whether it be going to talk to a person to get the quest, or whether it just starts immediately and it tells you to go to a certain island.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, with all the other quests, the main thing I was thinking of was, you're sailing around, you're exploring, you land on an island that you haven't been to yet, and you happen to find, say, a skeleton, leaned up against a tree, something like that, impaled, and he has a map on him, and that leads you to a side mission.
Okay.
Like that.
So
that's the main thing I think of.
That kind of plays into what I had a thought about. What if you're exploring a cave and you come up and you find someone in the cave that, like, they're trapped in a jail cell that's down there, and maybe you have to go do a quest to get him out of there, or her, and that could either then turn into a good or bad thing. Maybe it'll be random and they'll reward you, or that'll turn out to be a trap, and then you have to defend yourself or something with that.
Okay, so going back to what you were saying, Josh, about the main overarching quest and how like it would just continue after you finish one. I feel, although I kind of like that idea for new players, maybe you do that at the beginning stages, but I feel like that's a bit holding your hand. Like I want the challenge, I want to figure it out on my own, like with my crew and everything, and then going off of what Andrew was saying with how, let's say maybe you rescue somebody off an island or something, and then what if they join your ship, like join your crew, they give you a certain item, what if they come back with like a ship and attack you, what if it's a trap? So I feel like there's a lot of roads they could go down when designing certain quests, which I do hope and strongly encourage that they do implement, because I feel like the variety would definitely increase the replayability of the game, the desire to play the game, and just the different experiences everyone would have. Like I think it would be awesome, like to tell an adventure, like when we're out with our friends, and then say, oh, guess what happened when I was playing Sea of Thieves the other day, like you wouldn't believe this. And then I feel like the quests are set up and can be set up even more to have the potential to have us tell great stories, which is, again, the overarching, I think it's the overarching goal of this game. The more I listen to their podcasts and read their things, they want us to have these adventures, which I think is really good, which is why I think they're going to go the extra mile to design the games and mechanics and different paths in the game for us to have these things.
I just want to make one thing clear on what I was saying with basically the campaign quest always being active. I think you might have mistranslated it at least. That's saying it's telling you where to go or what to do.
Okay.
It might tell you you have to talk to a certain person or find a certain island, but it doesn't tell you where that island is.
Okay. All right.
I mean, it's just knowing that the quest is there. I don't want to like complete a story quest and then just not know what to do next. Just
Be
have
entirely
no
lost.
clue what to do next.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't want to be entirely lost.
Yeah, I agree. That is going to be important.
There has to be some sort of like leading, but don't lead them on too much to where it's overly easy.
Yeah.
I mean, you could start it off like that, where that to get to get the players acquainted to the game, but as you progress, kind of wean them off of that.
Like just stop babysitting the players and just have them explore the world and find stuff out on their own. Kind of like Breath of the Wild did, where you just go do whatever. But also being like more difficult things. I'm not saying that there's going to be a leveling system. I'm just saying like, you could return to certain things in the future, or just do them right away, or just going out and finding things, just exploring and kind of piecing the story and the quest together on your own time. So I want to go into now what's going to actually happen during the quest. When I was watching the gameplay, which I don't know if you guys saw the one published by I think it was on the Xbox YouTube page. I think I sent it to you guys, but at one part they're in the cave, and a part of the riddle was like, it's the boar shrine or whatever. So then they got to the shrine, except also in the riddle it said something about a light. So what they did was they shined their lantern by the boar skull, and then all of a sudden, like, things started getting shaky. It started glowing green from the eyes, and then all of a sudden, everything's activated. I think that would be really cool, like the visual and musical cues around you. I think that would also help immerse yourself in the game and add different aspects of the quest. And let's say, what if you did something wrong, to what we were saying before in the podcast? What if you did something wrong and then the eyes lit up red, and then something else happens, or something else opens up, and then immediately after, like, the skeletons came up and everything, after you got the well, what happened was they from the shrine they went to like 11 paces or something to the west, and then they dug up the treasure, and then the usual skeletons came up and everything. But what do you guys think about those mechanics, like those cues, and what you're doing right or what you're not doing right?
Going off of what you said, Captain.
Yes.
The part where they shine the light by the head.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of, like, not candles, but little fires light up, and that looks like magic to me. So I wonder how much magic would play into the game. Like, is there going to be other instances where supernatural events like that could happen? It's just something to think about. That I wonder if that's just like an isolated incident, or is that going to play a larger role in the game?
I mean, I would find it very interesting if they did. Not like so much as like you're fighting ghosts with magic ghost balls as a weapon.
No. We're not Harry Potter here, but it's
but I mean, like,
it's just a little something interesting to add to the game.
To Harry Potter for outstanding bravery, 50 points.
So going off of what Andrew said, I do think that would be interesting if there are other supernatural things, as the pirates did believe in those supernatural occurrences, and that, as we're already going to see, like krakens, the ferry, the damned, where there are ghosts and supernatural things, as well as mermaids and all that things. I think that would
Sirens
be really
are
cool.
also pirate lore
That is true.
or something like that. So, I mean, they're definitely the supernatural and Legends itself are going to be incorporated in the game, just with the theme of pirates in general. I don't think we actually got the opinions on the visual and audio cues for doing stuff right or wrong. But I mean, that is a staple in most games, at least.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I think you have to have those cues, and you have to have the visual and audio cues, because I think it's kind of what makes the game. You know, it makes you immersed. It makes you feel like you're about to get something. It makes you believe that you're there. And I think that's the most important part. And if they really want to stay on this, as we saw in the trailer and the gameplay, I think they did an excellent job with that. That is beyond cool. And I feel like that's really going to be a huge part of the questing system. And it's going to really have a great response from players.
I also think that with the cues, they could have, like, what was in the 9 minutes of gameplay. You have the whole screen, island is shaking.
Yeah.
I don't remember what happens afterwards, but you just have a whole what's going on? Whoa.
Yeah, like
that.
Kind of like an element of surprise in a way.
Yeah, but then you could also have the subtle cues that are noticeable, but if you aren't paying close enough attention, you're not going to notice.
All right,
and bridge off that, you could, I don't know, just as far as a subtle change, like it could just be a light, just a light going off.
Okay.
Something like that. I mean, like you saw in the gameplay, the candles did light, but the whole screen glue, it shook. You could, and certain puzzles could just have a small notifier saying, "Hey, you did it."
Hey, you did it.
There you go.
Not specifically like,
here's 1,000 gold.
Yeah, but I mean something subtle that if you aren't paying attention, you're not gonna notice, and you're gonna be lost.
So I think that should be on the bit more difficult quests.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. I think 100% that should be on the more difficult quests to make it even that more difficult. Obviously, that you do have to get everything right. That you really got to figure it out. You got to be, the expert treasure hunter that you can grow to be, and maybe you have to study certain things in the game and see patterns and really, really, really get in the world and start trying to decipher everything.
Keeping with the notifiers, and maybe not subtlety, but you have the player is paying attention, or you have a easily noticeable signifier that you did something right, but what actually happened isn't noticeable from where you're standing. Maybe a passage opened up somewhere near your location, or somewhere in the vicinity of the area that you're in on the island.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a component that they should implement.
Just anything that gives the players a thought. All right, we did this correctly. What happened though?
Yeah, and then it's up to them to find it. So I think we covered everything for the day on the topic of quests, and then we'll keep the discussion going. Obviously, guys, comment on what you got, what you want to see, your ideas and thoughts on what we talked about today. So I'm just gonna ask you guys, what are your final thoughts about the questing and everything that we talked about?
I'm really excited to see the compensation for the different the varying difficulties of the tasks. I think we brought up a good point where you should get a better reward for the harder the quest, and I'm just interested to see how they're going to implement that while still making it fun for everyone else that still wants to do the easier tasks, but keep them involved in the game too.
I agree with what you guys are saying, and I think that you guys bring up good points. I feel like I said everything I had to in the podcast, and I do agree with you guys. I'm just more curious about what the viewers want to see, and what they think of everything, and I'm curious about what they're going to implement into what the community is saying. So that's going to do it for this week, guys. Comment on what you guys want us to talk about next week and what you guys think about this week. I'm very curious about what you guys are going to say, and I'll be responding to everyone, and everyone's going to get involved. So thanks you guys for watching. We're the Swashbuckling Squeebs, so like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you guys next week.
See you.
See ya.
See you.